podcast listeners. I'm Zach Dresch.
And I'm Ryan Howe.
And you're listening to
The Dresch
Code.
the show where we answer very important topics in a jar.
Definitely not a bucket.
Definitely not a bucket. It's called the Jucket, but it does sound derogatory.
Jucket football. You're gonna make it derogatory right now. Who should we call a Jucket?
throughout the episode, just be prepared.
I think it's just a tan. There's no reason to call him a Jucket. Oh.
So before we get started, I want
Sorry, Xavier. Me too.
I'm gonna go around. I'm gonna go around to introduce all of our panel this evening. Casey Kustak, stand-up comedy extraordinaire.
I don't know why I waved.
They can see you actually.
Also panel. Wow, that makes all of you sound very distinguished.
Yeah, even though what we're talking about entirely is probably not it. And I call everyone by extraordinaire because all of you are extraordinary. We're all extraordinary in this room.
That's why I'm here. You should add that.
Yeah.
No one else does that.
One might say we are a league of extraordinary gentlemen.
Right. But Sean Connery had prior commitments, and he retired. So can't really do that anymore. Daniel Bergeson, filmmaker extraordinaire, occasional stand-up comedian. How are you?
Six times that he's a comic. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here. I just only came here to be called extraordinaire.
Right,
really.
yeah. You knew that going
It's
in,
part of the
so.
agreement written in the contract.
Yeah. Well,
Wait,
you
guys got
Yeah. What?
The musicians got the contract.
They know comedians.
You know,
what
like
you
after
want
and
us to
whatnot.
talk?
Yeah. Simon Keller, musician from Stem Cells and Grow. How are you, good sir?
I'm good. I also only came here to be called an extraordinaire.
Right. All right. You got it. And Skin of Our Teeth, musician extraordinaire, Xavier Pastrano. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
I only came here because I was told that there'd be pita chips and hummus, and there's
We already ate them
That's
before you.
the post party.
oh,
Alright, Jucket.
It's in the Jucket.
Is it because it's tan?
everyone gets a swag bag or a swag jucket.
It's just if the podcast doesn't go well, then we go outside and we have a pita party. I'll stop talking this whole
Recorded on
episode.
this podcast. You can't leave.
So this.
I'm out of here.
Right. That's fair. This episode will be called No Pita Chips Ever.
I actually, you know what? I wasn't here because I was going to be called extraordinaire. I was catering the. I work at Pita Pit. I was catering. We're not having it anymore.
No.
I left it in the car. You.
Let's go. We were just talking.
I mean, I work at Pita
I was
Pit.
feeling for it. I felt the truth behind it. I just have a strong adversity to anything with tahini in it. That's the only thing I can
Use
think
tzatziki.
of. I just don't like ethnic food.
Oh.
Like Jucket.
Like jucket food.
I don't like that jucket
Steer toward.
Did you say
I'm sorry.
tzatziki?
Is he being offensive?
Tzatziki, yes.
When I first started working at Hy-Vee, they advertised tzatziki sauce for like 2 years straight.
Can I?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say like companies? Talk about that.
I think so. Is
Uh,
that
Hy-Vee.
I went to Hy-Vee one time,
Pita Pit.
and I didn't have a lot of money, but I really wanted some hummus, and I got the Hy-Vee hummus. It's so bad. Don't.
It's probably a long time ago.
Hummus?
Yeah, it was a really long time ago.
Hi, Vummus.
Hi, Vamos.
Yeah, that's
Hummus.
that's the brand name.
Yeah.
Hi, Vummus.
So,
Hi, Chai, and hi, Vummus.
Hi, Chad, have Vamos. Hashtag. So how this show works is, Brian and myself pull out topics from the jar or bucket, and all of us as a group decide if it passes or fails the Dresch Code.
Right.
So if it passes, we talk about it. If it fails, we put it away, and we maybe bring it out for another episode. And there'll probably be a few left for the whole series run.
Question.
I'm glad you gave us instructions because the only preface to this I got was beratement for only bringing one Capri Sun for myself.
Yeah, we are still upset about that.
Social lore. You can't walk into a room with one Capri Sun.
Yeah, he didn't just walk into a room with a half-empty Capri Sun.
I did.
He came in with a full Capri Sun, and he sat there for 3 minutes.
I watched him open it. I don't think I've been here for 3 minutes. I was late.
Question:
I'm sorry.
when does the stripping happen?
Is
Is there like
Well,
if you answer the question
I
wrong?
stripped these price declines.
I heard there was going to be some dong droppage here.
Look, there's
Plenty
a
of
hole in
dongs
this
to be
couch.
dropped.
My dong is in the couch right now.
Isn't that like a new like little John song?
Probably Post Malone.
Dong da dong dong dong.
Yeah, beer dongs and Bentleys.
Yeah.
That's,
Malone.
Really
that's the new album.
Yeah, it's so good. Album of the year for white guys.
Let the dong drop.
I've heard so many people say Post Malone's new album is the album of the year for bros and white guys.
So what is the deal with Post Malone anyway? Not to like steer anyone, but like, he
What's
looks
the
so,
deal with
he's
Post
so,
Malone?
He's so icky. I look at him and I'm
He's
like,
so
this guy looks like he hasn't showered.
I
in
think
2.5
it's the
months.
idea of like Ron Jeremy in porn. Like you look at, you're like, he can do it, I can do it.
It is a confidence booster. It is. I feel like there's some secret though that like I can't access that part of Post Malone. I don't know if I'll ever be that grungy. I don't know.
No, it's because you
That's
have
a good thing.
dignity.
It's fine.
Well, who is isn't that like what, Riff Raff?
Yeah.
You know, like another like rap, like
Yeah,
same
yeah.
kind of thing,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
icky. But then you see him like with all these people, and it's like, what
Everyone-
the hell?
Yeah.
What kind of backwards world am I living in right now? Like, I don't know. That's interesting that you say that. Like, so I'm a teacher, and like I teach freshmen.
I'm sorry.
and- no, for the most part, like they're pretty good. Although, like I'm the music guy, so I'm like I'll I'll ask them like what are some things I should be listening to, and then vice versa. Like I'll be like they'll tell me what do you gotta listen to? They're like you gotta listen to Kishi 6ix9ine. I'm like okay.
Is that a Twitter handle?
Dude,
Keisha 6ix9ine.
Dude, the dude looks like a troll. Like he just, I mean, so I will, I'll do them the I will listen to the music, and I'll come back and depending on the student, like if I know they can handle like my humor, my joke, I'll
You'll
be like,
fail or
what,
pass
what are you
them, right?
listening to, kid? Like, or other times I'm like, yeah, this wasn't my thing, but then like I'll give them some of my stuff too. So it's kind of cool. But man, yeah, some of the hip hop that like is going around right now, like just from like the SoundCloud community, that's like I guess a lot of like my students are like really crazy about like the SoundCloud like rap culture, and some of it's just like I just don't get like the mumble rap kind of stuff. It's
Yeah.
all just like I'm
I got all
That's the same with like screamo though, and like crazy like death. What is it called? Like
Metalcore.
like metalcore, like the like
Chucket core.
So it's a new genre now.
Just scream into it.
I was talking with my roommate Dempsey Tapley, who you should have on this
Yes,
podcast
yeah.
soon. And we looked up some metalcore music that obviously neither of us actually listen to. But we looked up the lyrics to it, and we're like, this is beautiful. Like, but you can't hear any of it. So it's like maybe
Eddie
we
Vedder.
should. Exactly.
Right?
So, what's so beautiful about ours?
But yeah, we had this idea of just like if you perform at like an open mic, all the lyrics to say like a famous metalcore song that's just gorgeous, and then play them that song afterward, because people love it in a certain setting, and then other people are turned off by it just by the way that the music is.
Right.
But it's like it's just like a key that you have to unlock. You have to know the lyrics, and then you can appreciate them.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
metalcore
that's-
as Def
that's-
Jam poetry.
Right?
Right?
That's interesting because that's like my wheelhouse. Like that's like I love like any kind of metal, like black
Yeah.
metal or like metalcore, like whatever. And
mathcore
for me,
or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Common core.
Oh my god, dude, I need to I know there are some teachers at my school who are musicians. We should put our powers
You
together.
can get
and-
Mario Shirello in there.
There you go.
on there.
Yeah. We'll see where mine will make some common core.
Exactly.
Right?
But yeah, so like it's interesting. So I keep that in mind too, because it's like and I'll play music before like class, like in between bells stuff like that. And like some days the kids walk in, they're like, "What is this?" I'm like,
This is America.
And I'm like,
Just slipping up.
but that's interesting because
Yeah.
because like I've had just the effect that music has like music in juxtaposition to like lyrics. Because like you said, like you have this like like a metal band, you have these really like moving lyrics, but you can't really understand them, and the music is kind of obscuring it as far as like the vocal styling too. But then I was talking with a professor, a poetry professor, like years ago when I was going to school at UND, and she was saying how it was so interesting, like with the Beatles, for example, how.
Who?
Who was the cicadas? You mean the cicadas? But how like she was saying how like they, I mean, obviously it's the Beatles, but like she was wondering how much their popularity like rode upon the music, because she's like, if you take away the music and you just especially with the earlier Beatles songs, you just say the lyrics, it's like a fifth grader's poetry
Right.
project. Like,
Oh,
she loves you, yeah. Like,
Funny
so
that
it's really
you say
interesting,
that.
like-
Funny that you say that is that is Americanized with the Beatles.
Sure.
They're very proper over in Britain, and it was "She loves you, yes, and Paul's yeah. So I mean, I was actually.
I can't read you. I don't know.
I can read
your background
but-
has like
no.
like
So
something.
Paul's father at one point actually got mad, or I don't know if it was Paul's father, or I'm assuming so because John's dad was distant or whatever. I know a lot about the Beatles. I was there.
You're the only one who knows a lot about the Beatles.
I grew up listening to the Beatles. Like, that's all my mom listened to, and then I discovered like other people like in the '90s when I started getting away from my mom. You know, my parents were divorced, and when I moved back with my dad, he's like, "No, look, there's other bands." But Paul's father or something like that was saying that why aren't you saying yes instead of yeah. You sound so improper and childish, and they had to change those lyrics. But you bring up a good point about how they're just so mundane and limited in the vocabulary. What is it? The top 10 songs in the last 30 years on the Billboard top charts have a third grade reading
Oh
level.
yeah.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I mean,
that's so crazy.
What reading level is Gucci Gang?
My kid was saying that in preschool.
That's the right. Whose fault is that though?
Probably mine.
It's okay.
Should we start with the first topic?
Oh, we're not on that yet?
No.
Oh, Jesus. I thought we pulled this one out.
We don't need those stinking quick.
Is that in the junket, or are we just gonna have to redo the whole thing?
Yeah.
Start
Take
the
it from the
podcast
top,
over.
God
We
damn
messed
it.
up.
Takes. All right, I'll start. All
After you,
right.
Zach.
First topic:
Fail.
favorite
Oh.
style of stand-up comedy. Should we do that?
Pass.
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 on that one?
Yeah.
Pass, yeah.
Pass that. Yeah,
Pass.
that's good.
All right.
That's good. Who should I what? Me? You're
No,
me?
you're the
Oh,
famous guy
okay.
here.
Well, yeah.
Remember that?
I think storytelling is one of the more popular, or it's becoming more popular. I just love that way of being able to bring in different levels of jokes to create this intricate story that makes you follow along and you want to hear the next thing, and you're not necessarily listening for the punchline. The punchline's just coming to you, and it's like a twist. It's almost kind of M. Night Shyamalan-y, with it. But Birbiglia does a great job with storytelling.
Fluffy does.
Fluffy does.
I think he's an
in this
incredible
sense.
storyteller. No, tell me what. Take it. If you're gonna shrug.
Now we're gonna get off onto a different subject here. There's reasons why there are certain comics that I
That's
don't
okay.
like,
That's
and
okay.
it's because they've created a brand for themselves. And believe me, here I give them all the utmost respect as a fellow comic for going out there and doing the things that they do. But it's those individuals like Ron White,
Yeah.
Jeff Foxworthy, Larry the Cable Guy, Fluffy for an instance. They have
The
this
forgotten Bill Engvall. Here's your
But
sign.
that's
all I'm
exactly
gonna-
it.
I'm
They've
gonna go away
created
now.
something on. They've created something on just a catchphrase. I'm fluffy,
Yeah.
right?
Here's your sign.
Fluffy
be-
or
To be honest,
Bazinga.
I called him Fluffy simply because I couldn't think of his name. quick
Gabriel
enough.
Iglesias.
I know that, and I thought about it. I remembered it when you were explaining to me, like you were mansplaining at that point. But
I do that. I over-explain.
that's okay. I
This
did.
podcast is going to be
No.
3 hours long.
No, this is a non-speaking podcast, actually. No, but
Just
you're right. He has
ASMR.
created a brand for himself. 'cause
ASMR?
I couldn't.
Is that what
exactly.
What's it stand for?
I don't even know what ASMR is.
What does ASMR stand
Sexy
for?
sounds.
Someone Google it.
No, but you're
Awesome sounds mouth recorded.
Mount Rushmore. Awesome Sounds Mount Rushmore.
Awesome sounds mouth. That sounds like an album cover name.
Sounds like an Atari's album title.
Autonomous sensory meridian response.
I knew that. No, but you're right. You're right. I think the fact that he has created a brand for himself that specifically, people only think of him that way. And obviously, he's very successful commercially and whatnot. But when it comes to variety, which it's not for everyone. Obviously, you want to have more variety, which Birbiglia and whatnot
Right.
have. Absolutely.
My favorite is John Mulaney, just because
Yas.
he perfectly blends storytelling. I'm more of I like comedians that get more to the point with like a little vignette with jokes. I love one-liner comics, but sometimes that gets to be too much.
Yeah.
And so I like a blend of storytelling with one-liners, and John Mulaney, in my opinion, perfectly blends
And it's
that.
so rewarding as an audience member when you catch a John Mulaney callback, because he'll only do one, like his whole set.
Right.
But it'll come right at the very end. You're like, hey, I remember that.
What's the general consensus on the quality arc over his past 3 specials? I feel like
in my opinion, it's decreased. I loved
Yeah.
New in Town. It's one of my favorite specials of all time. And Comeback Kid was pretty awesome as well, but slightly weaker than New in Town. And then the new one is still good, but since he's
They're churning them out.
Yeah.
right. It's just so
when comics
processed.
get more famous, that becomes, in my opinion, a issue. Because when they get bigger, their quality of comedy decreases, in my opinion.
it's-
Like every Madison Square Garden festival or performance sucks, in my opinion, or at least lacks what I liked about the comic in the first place. Like,
The Dane Cook effect.
yeah, that one, yeah,
Okay.
because
You
when
know.
Dane Cook got famous, I loved his
He-
early stuff.
Yeah, Heartful as Swallowed is probably one of the best comedy albums
Yeah,
out there.
by
I'll
far,
say that.
yeah.
But everyone after that, it just decreased in value.
Yeah.
Or, well, not value, but decreased in connectivity
Right.
with the audience because it wasn't true. It was factory made. Everything was being churned out. I think he had an album every 6 months.
Yeah,
I think a thing. I'm not a comic, but I'm a
You aren't?
no.
Oh.
I love comedy, and I consume a lot of comedy. I love it. I love listening to comics talk about whatever, and I love going to comedy shows. But I think I've been to arena shows. I've been to like small clubs. I've been to Total Drag where there was 20 people.
Yeah.
And things like that. And I think a thing about good comedy is only a few people are going to understand and get it.
Yeah.
And when
That's
you're
my problem.
and when you're and when you're performing to like 20,000 people, you need to make everybody understand. And at the end of the day, it's no longer like special.
Watered down.
Right.
It's absolutely watered
Which for
down.
me is what I find so fascinating about like the early stuff George Carlin was putting out. Because a lot of it's not even trying to be funny, it's just at this weird intellectual level where he's just throwing it out there to see if it sticks. And he'll say a thing and you're like, what was the point? And then he's already 2 or 3 jokes down on the line. But that's something that I love is like trying to piece together like what was the intention of this string of sentences.
I thoroughly enjoy comics who do material that just that's primarily for them. They're like, I'm going to say this because it makes me laugh.
Right.
And if I'm having fun doing it, you're probably going to have fun as well. You know, you can. There's
They'll
a lot.
see why it matters to
Like
you.
Pete Holmes is a good example for that type of comedy. He's just like, I'm just going to do whatever makes me laugh. And
I will say Steve Martin's Madison Square Garden performance is fantastic because he was one of those comics that took apart stand-up comedy and made fun of the genre in general. And so he was just like, repeat after me, a very long phrase that was just like, everybody. Like, you just make fun of it.
He was a rock star on stage. He
Yeah.
wanted to bring them in. If I'm going to have you sing my songs, or I'm going to have you do
In my
jokes
opinion, he
with
was
me.
the closest guy to mix stand-up comedy and rock star style, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And that was why he's such a huge influence on me. And that's why that's the only like arena comedy show that I can like, oh, that's awesome. Like, that's really good.
Sometimes I don't like. I maybe watch more like stand-up specials. Like I mean, there are certain comics like who like I enjoy their films and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
But I know, like, I mean, like, I've just, from what I've seen recently, there's just been, like, a ton of these specials, like, popping up, like, on Netflix and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I'm just now, like, kind of starting to, like, branch out and check something out. Like, I just watched, and I've always liked Ricky Gervais, but I watched, like, his most recent one. I thought, like, it was really funny.
But Ricky Gervais didn't start out as a stand-up comic.
Well, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and so, which was interesting. And, too, yeah, he talked about, like, how older he was, like, when he got, like, into the game. Like, he was, you know, well, not
Late 30s, probably
significantly, but
40s.
Yeah. After Office started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the UK. You
But-
really got to see him progress and,
Yeah.
and watch him grow within his act
Yeah.
over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
And two, I think like I mean like my style, or like my taste in like comedy has like changed over the years too. Like I remember the first time I ever saw Margaret Cho, I was Margaret Cho. I was like, like it was I think I was like in high school. I must have been like 17, and like she's one like she's a storyteller. but just like, I mean, she's just very animated, especially like her earlier stuff, and just like out there. And then two, like unabashedly honest, just with like the things that she experiences. And so for me, like the shock value was like had a huge impact on me because I was like, oh my gosh, did she just say that?
Yeah.
And like I found like hilarious. Whereas now it's like I think she's kind of like watered down her stuff a little bit, and it's more like I've kind of grown with it a little bit more. Like it's the same thing like with like reading for me. Like I used to love Chuck Palahniuk as an author, like when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah,
because
Fight Club is great.
yeah, I was like I remember
Movie
reading
sucked.
Choke, and I was like, this is disgusting and it's awesome. And then now,
Choke was good too.
yeah, and like now, like as I've gotten older, like I read his stuff, and I just feel like it's so affectatious. Like it's like he's just trying to like throw in shock just to be like, what are they gonna do with this? And then I don't really like it that much anymore. Like I don't know. But
I mean, Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know he's been attempting to make a comeback on that stand-up scene, but he's still doing that shock
Yeah.
jock
In an
comedy.
RPC society, I just don't think it's
but,
gonna work.
But the thing is the people who like Andrew Dice Clay are still living in the
Exactly.
80s. You know, they're still doing
They're the
lines
people
that
that
go
time
down.
There's an
forgot.
audience
Like,
for
there's
that, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but there is, but that's the thing. How tastes have changed. You know, you go back and read Fight Club or Choke, and you read them now, and you're like, what the hell was I into?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I've actually went back and watched the Andrew Dice Clay special. I watched like 5 minutes and I just had to like,
Done.
and then I did watch a bit of
Hickory
Bobcat
Dock.
Goldthwait,
Oh sure.
and that's weird.
Can we not appreciate it on a meta level of like
Yeah.
he's making fun of who
Yeah,
who his
yeah.
audience is?
You have to be in that mindset too.
Right.
If you're watching it.
That's the perfect way to enjoy Dice.
Bobcat does have one great joke. Where he's like,
Motley Crue said they had a drug problem recently. Well, they ran out?
his whole special, he's just like on the ground, like,
But I don't think you could bring shock comedy back
No.
No.
Yeah.
now.
Sure.
You know, in today's environment.
With the
especially.
internet and whatnot, we
Right.
can't.
What?
With the computers.
Yeah.
yeah.
Computers?
Viewer Lee Burns says that Jeff Foxworthy bought his act off of Rich Snyder.
Well, see, fuck that guy.
Jeff Foxworthy can buy anything off me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but-
That's crazy.
and look, and people eat that shit up in the South. Yeah.
Well, I remember like I'll say like Midwest too, like when the like blue collar comedy tour thing like
Yeah.
came, and then it was like released on DVD. Like I remember like especially that was like my freshman year of college. And I went to
How
school.
old are you?
I use a lot of Liz Claiborne products.
Wow.
Where's another like that probably dates me too.
Probably more than the blue collar comedy.
Chocolate skin looks
No,
great.
like so I went to college in Marshall, Minnesota, and it's like small like rural community there. And man, it's like it was a lot of kids from like these rural farming communities. And man, it was like every kid was just like reciting lines from
Right.
the color comedy tour. And I'm just kind of like.
my friends brought me over to their house and like, you gotta watch this.
Is that when you decided to be a comic?
No, actually,
I can do better.
You were like, I'm not good, but I gotta show this guy up.
If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, it's the Post Malone effect.
We can get into that. No, but I remember watching the Blue Collar Comedy Tour and getting over with that. And I was like, I just wasted 90 fucking minutes. We could have been getting high.
I did like the original Kings of Comedy with Steve
Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey, and
Yeah.
Taylor Ugly and Cedric.
That was good too because I was white, you know, and like I felt cool, you know, watching that. Like, boy, I'll slap you. I'm like, shit, he talks like my mom.
I think there's a cultural door that's opened into the comedy world too, because like comedy is supposed to be like understanding, like I was saying earlier, and white people comedy is very different than people of color comedy, you know, Latino or African
I
American.
always think of
whatever it
that
is.
Simpsons reference when you say that. Is that have you ever seen how white people drive? They're all like, doo, 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 doo. And this is how a black person drive.
And Homer's like, oh god, it's true. It's so true.
That's a great point.
Shall we do the next
We are a
topic?
long-winded bunch. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's great.
You know, it's gonna take you a week and a half to go through the edit, though.
an album that you like that the general public does not.
Oh,
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah.
Pass?
it.
Pass.
I have to really think of the memory banks for this one.
Yeah, you know
Also,
every album
Era
ever.
Vulgaris,
Oh, God.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Oh yeah, it's a good album.
You got bad reviews.
Yes, it did.
And like,
did.
if I had to rank it in the Queen's discography, it's lower,
It's
but I
lower.
still love it. But yeah,
It's pretty good. Or vice versa. I did not like Clockwork. And
Oh,
people
really?
love that one. I did not like that one.
it took me a long time to get grow that one for me.
Sure.
Villains does not have as much staying power to me. Yeah, I liked
It's
it when it
fine.
came. It's fine, but it came
Yeah.
out. I was like, this is pretty cool, but it's like I get that they're trying to do a different sound per album, but it's not as staying as like Clockwork or Songs for the Deaf for me.
Well, they have
So,
like 10 albums now too. It's
Yeah.
getting kind of like, all right,
no.
new project. Let's go.
This is gonna sound really lame. Fallout Boy's Folly Ado.
Oh, that's a great album.
Oh, yeah.
I love that
okay,
album.
I'm okay with it.
Well, I wouldn't be. You say everything's a great album. Zach. I've seen your Facebook
You
posts.
always say
I
that.
always do that.
Oh, you said one of my favorites again.
It's so encouraging.
Since that day, I've been so self-conscious. with posting.
Good. You should. No, I actually enjoy that album. I think I thought it was a really deep album
Yeah.
for whatever it's worth. I enjoyed that, but I know that people just don't hate on Fall Out Boy.
And now people love that album now. Back then, it was trashed on because it wasn't as pop punk as
Oh,
the
I
older
loved it
stuff.
when it first came out.
Like, and now their new stuff is garbage. So it's like Fully Ado, in my opinion, is like up here, and all their new stuff is just like we are catering to the lowest common denominator possible by just looping the same phrase over and over again. Way to go, Patrick Stump. Fuck you.
Like this is a Rolling Stone article.
And like hearing Pete Wentz try and justify the lyrics is just the most hilarious. Like, we just want to listen to modern pop rock, and he has that weird.
Can't stand
it. Yeah.
People ask me the question like, if you could like, if
Do you
there was
look
like
like Pete
one,
Wentz?
if there was one like celebrity
Yeah.
that you would just like punch in the face if you ever saw him, who would it be? And my answer was always Pete Wentz.
Yeah.
My dad.
I'm not a violent person. So I have one album and then one band.
No,
I know.
let's do
So
that.
like, album. This is a more recent one. Was the self-titled Zeal and Ardor album. And I know, like, so I was just talking about this with a friend the other day, and he was like, "I've tried to listen to it, man. I just can't get into it." So for those of you who don't know, and again, this is like my like metal. Like,
Well, we know everything.
so it was this guy. He's like a one-man band essentially. Like when he like produced and like made the album and stuff, but he has like touring musicians with him now. But what he would do is he would just like try to throw like together like different genres of music to see like how they would like sound together, and he would post his ideas on 4chan because he was like, I love posting there because it's
Is that a Twitter handle?
it's basically like a Nazi scum like underground basically, but he's like everybody's just like so honest, like nobody like, and he's a black guy and he's like, you know, he's like I don't
Who?
care. And
He
so
happens to be black.
They prefer African American.
yeah, so like he asked for some recommendations or some suggestions of genres of music that you know people would like to hear thrown together, and someone said I'm not gonna say what they said black metal and N-word music.
N-word.
And so I'm not gonna drop it.
No music. No music.
Yeah. So he was like, okay. So what he ended up doing was, he just thought it was kind of interesting. But so what he did was he combined like slave spirituals with black metal. And so he
That's
thought
heavy.
too. Yeah. And so he thought too. He was
Get
like,
me that shit.
once he kind of put it together, he kind of had this thought of like, you know, because like with the black metal scene, like in the early '90s and stuff like that, with all like the church burnings, it was this kind of these young musicians who were part of the black metal scene were burning down these churches because it was like a symbol or a protest of them of like this assimilation, like, you know, them like losing like their roots and like their beliefs and having, you know, being forced to practice this particular kind of like Christianity. And so this guy thought, was like, what if slaves had responded the same way as these black metal guys did by rejecting Christianity and like turning towards Satan basically and making this like intense music. So he like rewrote and performed
And that's how we
like
got
all the vocals
Satanica.
these like slave spirituals, but it's all like for example, like one of the lyrics is like a good God is a dead one, a good God is one that brings the fire. but it's all like chanted. You hear like the chain getting music in the background, and it builds and builds, and all of a sudden it's just like blast beats and like scream music. And for me it was like Dan at Total Drag was like, dude, he like tagged me this post like, you gotta hear this. He knew like I like metal. I was like, all right, so I listened to it, and I was just like, holy shit, like what is this? Like this is the weirdest, like I don't know like what to think. And the more I listened to it, the more I was like this really works. Like it worked for me. But again, it's out there. You know, it's not everybody's cup of tea. But that album for me was top of the list for like top 10 albums of was like 2017 I think is when it came out. Because it just blew me away. It was just something like I never heard. And
Something else to check out.
Yeah,
I'm curious
well, and
what it
it's-
sounds like.
Hashtag Wakanda forever.
So is that like black metal?
Please tell me the album cover is just Frederick Douglass in like
Well,
corpse paint.
it's actually kind of cool cover.
Hamilton.
I forget what it is. It is. It's like an actual. It's like a photo of like of a guy who was a slave, but over top is their logo, which is the sigil of Lucifer with a Z and an A.
Oh,
it's
Zorro.
actually pretty awesome. It's actually pretty cool. So there's that album. But then band. I'm just gonna make this short. Band that I love that a lot of people hate is Ghost.
Oh, Ghost. Yeah,
Ghost.
Marion, that is a
Ghost.
great song.
Ghost. I've listened to. They've been getting like so much flack.
I like Ghost, but like I don't want anybody to know
I love
like
that
Ghost.
movie.
Like it's
You
just
just said it on a podcast. No one listens. How?
no. It's
Robert's listening.
anything outside of Meloria, I'm not gonna listen to.
Malaria?
Yeah.
Malaria was really good. I got their newest album prequel, and it's like I listened to it last night. And I sat down and I had like my, headphones, and the record was going. And I had like the lyrics, and I was reading through and stuff, and because I'm that nerdy, and they've definitely gotten like more theatrical like over the years, and then too like with the whole like lawsuit that happened with like to buy like the lead singer and stuff like that, and just because like it was I guess in the contract he said that it was stated that like he was like kind of the creative like mastermind behind it, and the nameless ghouls who play were like hired musicians, and so there's a lawsuit because not getting paid like certain parts of what they were doing and whatnot, but it's very
Zach's
I mean
gonna
it's
get one of
I've
those
heard
when
people
you-
say like Ghost is just like Scooby-Doo music. And I'm like,
Yeah, it is. It's definitely Scooby-Doo
Like,
music.
I like it. Like, it's, I mean, like, it's, I don't know. It's different, and I think part of it, too, is just, like, I love, like, the theatrics of it. I mean, it's, so over the top. It's, you have, like, a satanic priest guy up there, and, like...
I've never listened to any.
you gotta see what it looks like.
I think it's
I think
really
we're all gonna be
it's-
Facebook
it's
friends and
really,
get some things from the SoundCloud or
it's
4chan.
really
from Xavier here.
it's really accessible metal.
Yeah, oh, very
And
much
it's
so.
it's
Very
good
much
stuff.
so.
I just think they've kind of gone the way of Rick
They're
and Morty,
very
in my
accepting.
opinion, where they've played into their own hype so much
Oh, sure.
to where it's just kind of
Oh, that's so cool.
unbearable.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
looks
read
like
an article
Coco.
about that, too.
They
Like,
They look like Coco. They look like the
It's like
Pixar movie Coco.
An even more Catholic Coco. That's
Sure,
awesome.
sure. But like, yeah, like, I could see that. Like, it's definitely the article that I read. Like the writer felt the same way. Like they've like they're playing up like the lawsuit. They're playing up this this new change. Like instead of Papa Emeritus as lead singer, now we have Cardinal Copia, and he has to earn his skull paint and this and that. And it's just like okay. And at the end of the day, like for me, like I guess it's the music, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, then
Guys, the smoke is burning white. Ghost has a new lead singer.
oh my god. Oh.
I'm done. Religious jokes.
I have a couple albums that this one is.
You
the first
had
one-
your turn.
Did I talk? Did I
No.
say one?
No, I'm
you
just
come
kidding.
like
My name is on the shirt for the
Same as on the shirt for the podcast. Not the podcast, it's just the shirt. We couldn't afford to put his name on the podcast because of the shirt.
One we talked about yesterday, Oceanized by Owl City. It's such a dope album. It's such a dope album, in my opinion. It's such a great summer, just
Summer, winter, spring,
Whenever.
Or
fall.
Alone in Your Room, reflection on the lyrics.
right leap
know?
year.
Yeah.
It's just a catchy. Take it as it is, a catchy pop
Yeah.
synth pop album. I just love it. And another one that doesn't get a lot of love. I love My Chemical Romance's Danger Days. It's the one before they broke up, and it's It's like David Bowie-esque kind of glam rock style. I just like that album a lot. There's a couple songs I'm like, meh, but then the rest of the album is just great, and that album doesn't get a lot of love.
I'm gonna go with H. John Benjamin's experimental jazz album. And maybe it's just because I've been talking to people who actually know something about jazz. Are you hearing about this?
I'm hearing about this for the first time.
So H. John Benjamin, for those of you who don't know, voice of Archer and Bob from Bob's Burgers. Who?
I'm sorry, that's getting really old.
Carl from Family Guy.
And Carl from
one of the dudes from Home Videos.
Yes. He made
Credit him fully, please.
he's been in a couple sketches for John Oliver.
Dimitri Martin,
Yeah.
important things.
I know him.
So he recorded an experimental jazz album where he would go in and play jazz piano. Except
It's just him going.
No.
That's a flute.
Except he doesn't know how to play piano. So he goes in.
So it's like a Beefheart record.
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. That sounds amazing.
So he goes in with all these jazz musicians and under the assumption that he knows how to play. So they're going through this song and he's going ding, 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 and you can kind of hear his progression. Like he's kind of teaching himself piano as he's going along. And by the end of the album, he's actually putting some chords together.
Get out of town. I have got to hear this.
It is fascinating. It is wonderful. It's
experimental jazz, or just look up H. John Benjamin.
Yeah,
and see what
I should credit it fully, but it's like something selling my soul to the devil or something.
I feel like I'd almost rather just like listen to a recording of him like in a piano lesson, like talking with his
voice
and they're
is
like
so
teaching
smooth.
him scales.
Oh,
It's
it's-
I love his voice.
Now what you need to do.
It's called Well I Should Have, and one of the tracks is Learn to Play Piano.
Failure is an
That is
option.
so
Is his book.
awesome.
He
There's-
probably nowadays has the most I don't even know words.
Yeah, most distinct voice.
Distinct voice in animated shows. Like you can tell when he's on a show. Like he never changes his voice.
Yeah,
If
it's
you
always the
play like
same.
a female character named Martha, you'd be like, whoa.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, like
You can
I'm
still
Martha.
hear him. It's just an octave higher. You can still hear it.
I love the inflections and the tonality, and his whole voice in Archer and Bob are the same, but they're complete opposite characters.
Yeah.
He would just be a great dad for me. I would have him read me the dictionary.
He used to play on Important Things with Dimitri Martin. He played the arch nemesis character in every skit with Dimitri Martin that he hated. Like there was a skit where two guys were trying to fight for the same parking spot, and they just get in a fight, and Dimitri keeps pausing the scene and like making a description of what's going on in that person's thought process right now. Like, I'm gonna give you till 1. Like, does not know what's gonna happen at 1. Like,
Going back to what you were saying about jokes for the comic, my favorite Dimitri Martin joke of all time is his one about saltines. Are any of you familiar? He's like,
I like
it's like,
saltines.
what are the holes in saltines for? Like aerodynamics. and nobody laughs. And he's like, that's fine. That's for me.
another one of my favorites of his is finger puppets sounds okay as a noun. And then just Danny, did we touch about your album that you like?
Oh Jesus! I
love that album too. Oh Jesus!
That's Kanye's new one?
The thing is, I think most of the albums that I like, most people would probably like. I don't know. I mean,
So you're a conformist.
I just don't know nearly as much about music as you guys, and so like let's see.
Like you have to know what people hate. You have to know that much.
No, I know, and
So I hate what they hate.
let's see. What the hell?
What about an
is-
album you hate that other people hate?
So.
Genuinely hated album.
So like, okay, so you guys know, I forget her name. She's Andy Samberg's wife.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
fucking-
Yeah.
Joanna Newsom.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people that I've tried to show her to, they're like, I don't know about this. But she's kind of creepy, and she's kind of sexy too in her voice. I don't know, it's like a creepy sexiness. But I'm into
Gina
it.
Spector has one of those voice.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, but like she's
Fuck.
like the girl next door. Like I don't know, I'm into her stuff. Like in general with her topics that she covers, and it's very emotional. But like she's not as creepy as what's her name again?
Joanna Newsom.
Yeah, like
it is. It's like.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, no, like
I do.
and I will say like I'm one who I've we're playing. Like I'm kind of on the opposite side. Like it's like I can appreciate like what she's doing like as a musician because like she's like a harpist too. Like she's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
she's super talented. But yeah, the vocal style for me, I'm just kind of like like I could imagine like in my head like some of her songs being used for like a horror movie like soundtrack or something like that.
Yeah, because like it's kind of pleasant in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like Enya.
I think I'm the only one that laughed that hard because it resonated. So it's such like eerie music. Like it's so pleasant, it's wrong.
I shouldn't be this relaxed right now.
She's created
Why am I
a
around?
genre.
Absolutely.
And then,
Yeah.
so yeah,
And it's hard. I'm trying to think of like another musician or like artist to like not compare her to, but to, it's kind of hard to. Like
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah,
She's
which is
got
cool.
that
Exactly.
originality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, so I'm into it, but cool.
Next topic.
Yeah.
Do we touch? Oh, we
Yeah.
Paul Boy. That's right.
Yeah.
Next one.
All right.
Friends or Seinfeld? Pass or fail on that one?
Fail.
Just
Fail.
all
Fail.
Seinfeld, move on.
Yeah. Friends has not held up the test of time, by the way. Friends is awful. You're just like, my God, these guys were assholes to each
Everyone's
other.
gonna. No one is gonna listen to this now. Everyone who is listening live is not gonna listen.
We don't need
We're
it.
off. Click.
Favorite bands that peaked early and have yet to top it.
Oh, that's.
I can talk about that.
Pass.
Pass. Guns N' Roses. But Ryan hates Guns N' Roses. So that's
Oh, okay. I
thought we're-
also. Tell me
No,
why
I just thought we were gonna get through an episode without mentioning that. But
My thing about Guns N' Roses is every song of theirs sounds like someone trying to make fun of Guns N' Roses. It's kind of like have you guys ever listened to Billy Ray Cyrus? It sounds like he's trying to make fun of himself. That's what Guns N' Roses sounds like.
You mean Cyrus? He changed it, right? He
I think he
changed
did
it.
change it. Yeah.
Cyrus the virus?
I didn't know.
So
I don't follow it.
it's a little kind of thank you. Yes. Want to know what my daddy taught me? Nothing.
Nothing makes me sadder when an agent lost his bladder on the airplane. No.
A movie everyone hated but is great, Con Air.
Quick side note: I have 2 copies of Con Air that I got on consecutive birthdays because my friends know me that well. So one's just the regular version, and one's like the unrated, uncut version.
Wait, there was an unrated
Or it's
uncut
like,
version?
there's like a director's cut version of Con
Get
Air.
out of town.
Yeah, but you actually get
Just
to see the
more
bunny to go
Nicolas
back in the
Cage
box.
with that wig.
If we're talking about DVDs, I have both the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. That's not a joke.
I knew I didn't like Simon.
No, I think it's just it always just comes down to Axl Rose's voice. Like as much as I love people that have unique sounds, just for him it's just the why that I can't get around.
But everyone knows it. Everyone knows who he is. He has literally the widest range of any pop star that we can think of. Like more than Alicia Keys and all those little squealers and whatnot. Like he has basically he has a wider range, like from bass to soprano.
And he can keep it over there.
Sure. my problem.
Axel.
Yeah, I think
Too close.
the reason my animosity like expanded was because I already had this disdain for Axl Rose, and then he went and is now frontmanning AC/DC, who is my favorite band, and so it's like I can't.
Yeah.
Get out.
Well, he's gonna draw a crowd. He is definitely going to draw a crowd. I'm with you on the whole, I don't know if I like them. Obviously, you say you hate them. I hear them come on the radio, and I feel like I want to change the station, but I don't. And I don't know really why.
It's because you have your constant in Sweet Child of Mine. Like, I know this is on the radio. Do I want to risk going to a different station?
Right. Well, because the thing is, I would rather hear someone else sing that song because beautiful lyrics. I love the lyrics. It's great
Sheryl
music.
Crow sang.
That's who I was
Yeah.
trying to
I
think.
mean-
That's a great version of that
Yeah.
song.
I want to hear anyone but Sheryl Crow.
Well, okay, that's great. Captain Fantastic also has the ending funeral scene for the mom. I don't need to spoil it. The mom's dead, then they have a funeral for her at the end. But they do this great acoustic cover, like folksy, like family. It's just basically an acoustic guitar and just really great vocal harmonies and some like hand drumming. Basically,
Well, there is something
And
to
it's
say
really
about
good.
Guns N' Roses' cover of "Live and Let Die," though. That is
Not nearly
fun.
as good as the original. I hear it on
It's
one of-
fun.
I
It's
hear it
fun.
on one of
It's,
the-
it's fun. It's fun. It's more
I need to say
amped
this. This
than
is
yeah,
Paul
PSA.
McCartney's version. But.
PSA to 103.7 The Crow. 103.7
Are you listening, Crow?
I love you. I do. I love your music, but you need to play the original version of Live and Let Die and not
The Guns N' Roses.
not the Guns N' Roses version because it's disappointing.
Also, while we're on the
That's not
subject,
nearly as bad as the cover of "Knocking on Heaven's Door."
Oh,
But the reggae. I have a bunch of I got a bunch of stray cats that live outside my house, and when they have sex, that's what it sounds like. And I'm not kidding.
You gotta get those cats a record.
Listening to cats have sex.
but while we're
I don't have
on the
AC
subject of
because the windows
PSAs,
are open.
I realized that it
Is that a
was.
What is?
I get that it was Metallica, but there are a lot better Metallica songs to play than the cover of Whiskey in the Jar.
yeah.
If I could not hear that every time I turn on the radio, that would be swell.
I want to see Metallica cover Taylor Swift.
Honestly, I'd listen to it.
I want to
too.
see Metallica cover Taylor Swift's cover of September.
Who was it recently that
That
covered?
would be good. Too.
There was some dope band that covered a Smash Mouth song recently. Oh, Car Seat Headrest. Did anybody
Oh, really?
see that? I think
They
it was
covered Smash Mouth?
and then Smash Mouth covered a Car Seat Headrest song.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Which one? That's the
I don't
Car
remember.
Seat has like 10-minute songs.
Prince's
so I'm like,
cover of "Best of You" by Foo Fighters.
Oh, I forgot
That's
about that.
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
And Foo Fighters cover of "Darling Nikki."
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Uh,
Only released in
weird,
Australia.
obscure metal reference. Mutoid Man with John Dyer Baisley from Baroness.
I
Did
know
a cover of Purple Rain by Prince.
Oh, nice.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It shreds.
Another one that I forgot to point. The Killers peaked early, in my opinion. And they
Oh,
have not
yeah,
been
that's
able to
I forgot
come
that
back.
was the topic.
I
I was like, what the hell are you talking about?
When
Brendan
did
Fowler's such a
was
pretentious-
Hot Fuzz? When
Panic at the
That was
Disco.
the first album.
That
Hot
was their
Fuzz.
first. Are you? You're okay. You're right. They did peak early.
And then Sam's Town was good, and then after that they lost me. Like
The
Panic at the Disco peaked early too.
the only bands that I can
That's
think
a
of
different
are
one.
like commercially peaking now, but in my opinion, like creatively peaked early. Like Green Day, early Green Day is great.
yeah.
But that's why they.
And then they
that's why
repeaked.
peaked, though.
They repeaked in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
with
but
American Idiot.
but
and then they kind of
the album's still not amazing. It's fine.
It's more poppy. You know, I mean, it's something that everyone knows about. I mean, that's something to say for it.
Sidetracking for
or
albums, I
Weezer.
like that the general public does not. I like the Uno Dos Tre,
Oh.
like minus like 5 or
course you
6
do.
tracks.
you know
I thought Dose had a couple of bangers, but the rest was throwaway.
Yeah.
the band the Fratellis.
No, the Fratellis are
The
great.
Fratellis, I don't think get enough credit.
Yeah.
You know, one they've got some stadium rock in there, but they've got some soft folky music as well. I mean, every album of theirs have just gotten so much better.
The singer
progressively.
The singer
from-
produces other people's albums too,
Oh, well,
so it makes sense why
yeah.
he's been. I think he makes a lot of his money producing, but he still plays
from
Fratellis,
Costello
yeah.
Music Company on.
Yeah.
Every Fratellis album has gotten so much better.
I'm gonna go back to last podcast and say Imagine Dragons. I think they came out so strong, and I just have not been impressed with anything since.
Kings of Leon too.
That was
Yeah.
just good.
Yeah.
That was my
Kings of
man.
Leon,
Like,
yeah, their
you're
first
right.
their first album is
Nobody
really
else
good.
got high
It's
today.
so good.
It's so good. I feel like
I still
like,
love Aha Shake is great
Yeah,
too.
Aha Shake Heartbreak, like for me, like everything up to that point, I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then after Aha Shake, I was just like, what happened? Like I think the biggest thing for me was it just seemed like Caleb Followill, like his vocals, like he was so wild and unrestrained, and like, and you can't understand a thing that he says because it's like Southern drawl is like so like it's like this weird like Southern. Exactly, yeah, dude. It's like this Joe Cocker, like the Southern Joe Cocker, like weird mix thing. But yeah, they were just, I mean, everything was so chaotic and I loved it. And then, like, you know, what was the album that came out, like, with Sex on Fire? Like,
Only by the Night.
yeah, Only by the Night came out. And then, and that was when everybody, like, a lot of people were like, oh, have you heard of Kings of Leon? I'm like, yeah, when they were good. Like, sorry. But yeah, they were a band I thought, like, yeah, peaked early and then just
Molly's Chambers is like a perfect pop song. Like it's such a good song.
Sure.
No doubt.
I was
Oh
gonna
yeah,
Yes.
say,
No doubt.
no doubt about that.
I'll leave.
They were like, it's like for me,
They're now
like
the
they
code.
were a band.
The code.
They were Tragic Kingdom was the first CD I ever bought. Like my own
Yeah.
money, like allowance money. I went into Disc Jockey when it was like in the like where Target kind of was like now or whatever. I went in there and I bought it.
How
and
old
then
are
I'm
you?
Like, that was a game changer. And, like even like the early stuff too, like
Sam
self-titled
Goody.
and like Beacon Street, like early like ska kind of stuff. And then Tragic Kingdom came out, and it was just that like intense like alternative rock kind of grungy sound. And then again after that, just like Return of Saturn, and then Rocksteady.
Yeah.
And oh my god, I remember like when that came out, I was so disappointed. I was like, I remember I heard like the Hey Baby, like the single, and I was like, I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. I'm gonna go get the CD and we'll see what's up, because we still bought CDs
That
back
one,
then.
right?
When I was a kid, we went down to Best Buy and bought CDs.
On cue. I bought Tragic Kingdom at an on cue.
There you go. Yeah. And so like it was just devastating. But yeah, I think they did too. They peaked early.
I miss the days at Best Buy when their DVD section was dope and there was so many deep cuts and like hard to find DVDs. Same with the CDs.
Dude, it's
now it's just
depressing
like
in there now.
now it's
It's
just
just-
like Adele albums and that's about it. Like
You used to be able to go in there and buy two copies of Con Air for your friend on his birthday. Like,
I've got one for this year and for next year.
you're lucky
Planning
if you find
ahead.
one copy there. Now. You're lucky if you find one.
is Con Air Netflix? Get Con Air. I will watch it.
Just Alexa.
Netflix.
Hey Netflix, show me Con Air.
What if some guy's like listening like
It has every other terrible Nicolas Cage movie, like the recent ones.
Oh
but-
yeah,
yeah.
it's
Actually,
bad.
he's supposed to be coming out with a new one. That's
Every 6
supposed
months.
To be like
A new Con Air?
No.
Every 6 months.
What's it called?
Electric
It's
Boogaloo.
like a woman's name. It's like it's not Molly. It's something. I forget what it's called, but it's a horror film, and it's like
Molly's game.
No, it's like it's like his like wife or like daughter or something gets taken by some like
Usually.
crazy cult in this forest,
And he needs to
and he
seal the
has like a
Declaration of
hatchet,
Independence.
and he has to go and get her, and it's supposed to be like
Wait,
totally
wait.
outrageous,
Aren't
but,
there, like-
super good.
Aren't there like 5 Nicolas Cage movies like that? 'Cause
Yes.
there's one where they steal a baby, and there's one where they steal a daughter.
Mandy?
Mandy. That's
Mandy.
what it is, yeah, it's from what I've heard reviews so
I definitely
far.
heard
it's,
about
it's,
that.
Like supposed to be
Oh,
pretty promising.
Mandy.
So, I don't know.
And he's also going to be in a movie where he plays a vampire that's also a baseball player called Umpire's Lick. Just kidding.
I would not put it past him.
No,
I
not at
just
all.
can't tell if you're joking or not.
That was
Yeah.
fake. But I'm like, I would love to see him be a vampire umpire who gets pissed at the baseball players and bites them and is like, "You bastard! Hit a home run! You piece of crap!" Ah!
How long were you up late last night writing that one?
He's been saving this one for like a month.
Yeah.
He
First
ran it
episode.
past me,
Specifically
actually.
for episode 3.
It's like episode 3, Vampire Nicolas Cage umpire.
Got it. That's the
That's
episode.
good.
Umpire's Lick's the episode title.
When I have a T-shirt for a podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Top 10 most underrated artists. Did we kind of touch on that?
Yeah, I think we kind of hit that in that
Yeah.
last one too.
Kind of hit it. Failed.
Pass.
Yeah.
Fail.
Fail. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
Whatever
take
your
it.
fail
It's
Yeah,
my
I
file.
feel
fail
like
file.
passes are really.
It's
difficult
like
one.
Robert the Robin of this from Howard Stern.
Just decides.
Way to reference something no one listens to.
How old am I?
Well, I can't wait for the stimulating discussion this will have. Should there be a list of rules at the door telling our audience what we expect of them?
Oh, for like show
For the Dresch
concerts or
Code?
something, or?
Well, that
We have some rules here. We expect our.
Pass.
Wait,
Pass. Talk about this.
I
Should-
can you
shows
elaborate?
or-
I'm confused.
should there be a list of rules at the door telling our audience what we expect of them? That's all it
as
says.
performance.
As performers?
I would
They-
guess.
or
I would
what
assume
they
so.
should expect of us.
I think those things are already like on tickets and on websites.
I think like it's
and-
like I mean because there was what was it
Or are you saying as an audience member, like participation, or like
Possibly. That's just what it says.
it's just real
Fail.
okay.
New question.
Fail.
Nobody can
Fail.
understand it. English, please.
Top 10 most overrated artists.
Yeah, we did that one.
Fail.
Okay.
You're just burning through these things. Here in the Dresch Code.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay. First that.
yeah. Okay.
you want me to read this one?
Flip it and reverse it. Like Missy Elliott.
Was it plus 44 or Angels and Airwaves? And then the back is, why didn't you pick?
Angels and Airwaves.
I would actually pick Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah.
I would have picked
Oh,
Angels.
yeah.
I would have picked Angels
Pass.
and where it was
Pass,
cool.
Tyler.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pass? Oh.
Okay.
I think we all just agreed.
Yeah, Angels and
Yeah.
Airwaves. Everybody says Angels and Airwaves.
There's
Cool.
no problem.
Deeper,
Right.
Deeper music was good.
I do, in the side of plus 44, I do like how they don't do long ass intros like Angels
Right.
and Airwaves
Oh,
does.
No, that's what they're about because it's like you're flying through space. You know, it's like
Yeah.
you're on this journey with them, and so it's like a preparation. It's excitement. You know.
Can we mention the onboarding ding that just happened?
That's my ride. I gotta go.
Attention, Zone 1 may now answer this question.
You put our
Zone
tray
1.
tables up.
I thought I knew who plus 44 was. I'm like, oh yeah, they wrote Amber, but it's like, wait, no, it's 311. There's too many number bands.
Mark Hoppus is in everything.
Trick question, Alkaline Trio. All right.
That was, I picked it, so.
Okay. Guilty pleasures or some embarrassing artists or comics that you hate to admit you like. We kind of already touched on that though.
Yeah, I got the blue collar comedy tour.
Yeah.
DVDs.
Fail it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Const-
I can't wait for your next guests to have these shitty questions.
Can we, as performers, fire our audience like street performers do?
like,
Performers
you're like,
fired.
all right, get the fuck out of here, I'm done.
Do they do that?
Or do they just
I
leave?
feel like they just stand there and keep playing.
Yeah.
And
I
then
feel like if you're a street performer, like you're not gonna pass up like an audience. Like you're just
This is all I got.
Play
I wanna-
anything
I
you
wanna-
want.
I think it has to do with like how the performer feels on stage if an audience isn't giving it back. Or
Oh,
we could,
sure.
should we talk about that one?
I pass.
Pass, I'll talk about
yeah.
Sure.
It's- I've been to concerts where the performer. Oh, there you go. I've been to shows where the performer is not into it. Like, no matter how famous they are. Like, I went and saw Jack White last month, and that was incredibly disappointing because he was.
Because
not
he was
like-
Jack White.
Yeah.
Oh,
Playing the new
You don't
album.
need to shit talk people
Yeah.
who are more successful than us.
It
It's
was.
fine.
I love.
But he's famous.
You're right. Not nearly as famous as Jack White.
That's
but
very true.
I was so bummed because he didn't play Dead Leaves on the Dirty Ground. He didn't play Black Math. He didn't play any of those bangers. He just played a lot of deep cuts and stuff off the new album. And I'm just like,
But what's
You
to
tell
say that
he's-
he's required to play those?
I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying throw some more bangers in than what you threw in. Like, I'm fine with you not playing your hits. Like, just throw in some more.
Which is an interesting. This is like, who are you to tell Jack White
Yeah.
what he should play
I
at Jack
just-
White?
I love it.
Yes,
I
if
love
it's
going to a
really-
concert and hearing stuff that's not the hits.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean,
Foo Fighters is a perfect.
Foo
example
Fighters
of
is a
that.
great example. I mean, I've seen that. I will see them for the 10th time. I know. I am a fan. I will
Whoa,
suck
man.
that dick.
But the thing is Foo Fighters still play Monkey Wrench and Everlong, whereas
they do still play that.
but Jack White didn't play the bangers.
Yeah, he didn't
At
play
all.
Seven Nation Army. He didn't play Seven Nation Army either. Like, he didn't care.
But
Like,
isn't Seven Nation Army a White Stripes song?
true,
A Jack White
it's
Stripes
his
song.
He wrote it himself.
Right.
Those
But
are
I
his.
mean, but
Yeah.
Dave Grohl's not up there playing.
Nirvana.
You know,
He did play Marigold once.
Yeah, once.
Once.
Well, yeah, there's like a couple times. Well, when Lemmy was still alive, like he brought Lemmy on. They played some Probot stuff.
Oh,
like, so
yeah.
he's done that. So it's like, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. I'm gonna let it simmer a little bit more and let me think.
Because when I saw Jack, like, he'd been playing like 25 songs every night on that tour. He played 18 for us.
Oh wow.
And it's just kind of like you could tell he did not want to be there, kind of vibe. And it's kind of a bummer for me.
Well, it was Sioux City, Iowa.
It was Omaha.
Oh, it was Omaha.
Oh wow.
It's interesting too, because like so like there was like Brian you said like well like it is weird like because it's like who are you to tell like Jack White like well you're not playing the right kind of songs but then too it's I mean so he's he's a famous musician he's made this music but then too it's like I feel like it is kind of like a two-way street and I'm not saying like I don't want to sound like entitled or anything like that like as a listener but
Yeah,
it's like
right.
I mean this person as artists like we make comedy we make
Right.
films we make music put it out there because well one like maybe we like it obviously we like it because if we didn't like it we wouldn't be doing it but we put it out there for
Hate
us
this.
and for other people to like enjoy and like to to kind of like get into and so there is almost I feel like a certain sense of entitlement like especially when you're a big musician like obviously your audience is going to want to hear like certain songs.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like who was it? There was like Rob Van Winkle, Vanilla Ice. How was it that I know his like real name? Not his name. But it was like, you know, like he wrote, you know, Ice Ice Baby, and like it drove him crazy. But it was like people loved that song, and so I can understand like you might be so sick. Like maybe he didn't want to play Dead Leaves on Dirty Ground, but it's like your audience loves that song, and essentially like they've kind of helped you get to like the point of like where you are in your career. So it's like, I'm not saying like, you know, he owes us this, but it's like throws a bone, like, you know, like play like you know, like a banger or two or something like that. But I don't know. I mean, but I can understand that like if you're a musician, you've played these songs like over and over and over and over and over again, you might get sick of it. But it's like
why
Throw one or two in there.
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
give them something.
And then too, if you are getting sick of it, maybe it's time to kind of
Well,
you know?
Yeah, if you're not willing to do something for your audience, why even play to an audience?
Yeah.
I also kind of think that some acts will play specific songs based on the city they're in. Like this, the Foo Fighters show here. Like when I brought my wife, she had never seen them before.
Oh.
And I felt that, to me, this was not the best show I've ever seen because I felt that it was nothing but Foo Fighter hit, Foo Fighter hit, Foo Fighter hit, Foo Fighter hit. It was. I don't think there were any deep cuts, but I know that the 9 other times or the 8 other times I've seen them in you know, Minneapolis or
Were you
Chicago.
at the Council Bluff show on the Wasting Light tour?
No, I was
ago?
I was in Minneapolis on the Wasting Light tour. I was backstage for the Wasting Light
that's
tour.
awesome.
I met Nate and I met Taylor, and then I got to high five Dave Grohl.
He's famous.
But no, I felt that with those other shows we got deep cuts in the bigger cities. Like, you know,
The Council
we got
Bluff
to hear
show I got.
Generator.
Oh,
and
I got
I'm like,
Generator,
shit,
too.
Generator's great.
In mine, I got For All the Cows. Hey,
Oh
Johnny
yeah,
Park.
yeah. I got Dear Lover in one of them.
Oh, wow.
You know, that was.
in the bigger cities, you're going to get a bigger audience, and so more people are going to appreciate the deep cuts just because you're going to have a bigger sample of people.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but not to bring it back to the Beatles again. Paul McCartney more so, which he's basically half the Beatles. But,
3.
Well, I mean, yes.
McCartney and I'm all the Beatles.
If you're counting the ones that are alive,
Yeah.
he is half the Beatles.
Or the ones that are good, you know, Paul and George.
but he came to town to our little.
George
town
is an
of
underrated artist.
Sioux Falls, South
Yes.
Yes.
He also had like one of the worst album covers of all time, the one with the clouds in the background. He
Yes!
had sunglasses
Yes!
on. I laugh every time. Audibly.
But he came here like I don't know, like almost a year ago. But my boss actually went to use, you know, he's like of the age to go. He's like, you know, 65-ish.
I
or
went
whatever.
to that.
Yeah, I know.
How old are you?
How old are you?
Who can afford it? I don't know. Anyway, so he was
Famous people.
but
They're
he
called
was,
jobs.
Yeah, thank you. I haven't had one.
Yes, that's it. That's got. Do you guys have like thumbnails for the podcast? That's gonna be it.
Like this is
The Dresch Code with
Cloud
George
9
Harrison.
album.
Dressed in the
Let me
clouds.
see this shit.
Sorry. Yeah, it's
Okay.
That looks like something you put together in Photoshop or like in Microsoft Paint.
Yeah,
The sad thing is they didn't even have that back then. Like, I don't think.
Like,
Some dude got paid a lot of money to make that.
put
me in
front of Walter in
No, what's Jeremy known for? I invented the Cloud 9 album cover.
We have gone off a tangent.
No,
but
that's
what is
fine.
your
no,
Paul
but
McCartney?
they wrote a song, Rocky Raccoon, that is literally set in this state.
Yeah, the Black Hills of South Dakota.
It's about a raccoon who lives in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, or no, actually in the Black Hills of South Dakota. But he was pissed that McCartney didn't play it, and it's like, you know, he has so many songs, and like he's old. And so like, let him just have the set that he does, and let him just do the same set over and over again if he wants to, because he's like, come on, why is he gonna throw a bone to Sioux Falls, South Dakota? Like, it'd be great if he did, because obviously
He
they
probably
wrote a
doesn't
song
even
set-
remember he wrote the goddamn
Exactly.
song.
Exactly. Yeah, but like, I mean, how pissed can you be at a huge artist like that? I don't know.
Couple more things. When I left the Jack White show, people in the audience were still right by the stage going, da 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 da. Like he's not gonna come out. Like,
Especially now.
Tech guy's already putting stuff away.
Well, your
Like,
boss shouldn't be upset because he played Transistor Secretary, and that song he's never played live until this tour. So
Yeah. And then when I saw Jimmy Eat World last month, they played the middle. I'm like,
Temporary
that would have been weird if
Secretary.
had they not played the middle.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like, that was the song that got me into him. It would sound my
The middle?
favorite. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not necessarily my
that's-
favorite, but it's the one that got me into him. So it's like, I feel
they
like that
peaked
one.
early too.
It's one of the first 3 or 4 albums are great, and then they kind of just fell. They're still okay, but it's like they were of it. And the most of the set was those 4 albums. I'm like, I'm fine with that. That's fine with me.
Right.
And so that's one of those things. Yeah.
So if you're talking about like a huge artist like Paul McCartney and they're doing new stuff as well, but maybe the reason you're going to see him is because you were a fan of the early stuff, like
Yeah.
what percentage of stuff do you think that he should play of the previous or the new stuff that like you might be into, you might not?
I would say like
60-40.
65, 35. 45. Whatever. 65,
2020.
35.
No, 65, 35.
2020 and the rest of it's just the crowd singing.
So 65 new stuff.
Or
65 old stuff.
Really?
35.
I think
new
for
stuff.
the general person that's high. Because typically when you go to a show, like people will be like they'll play like 1 or 2 new
Wait,
songs.
people are high at concerts?
That's so good. Like, I feel
Depends
like
on how
this is,
solid
like,
their new
this is
album is
news.
too.
Like, so I went and saw Queens of the Stone Age, their Villains tour with Royal Blood.
Yeah.
And
Oh, Royal Bloodism. Oh,
Yeah.
They were really.
Was that in Minneapolis?
great.
Yeah,
I wanted to go
at
there.
was in St. Paul, I think, at the Roy Wilkins, and
They're the same place.
and
They are the Twin Cities.
and like Villains came out, like we kind of just touched base on that. Like I wasn't crazy about it. It was too poppy for me. Mark Ronson, I feel like kind of screwed up that album for
Yeah.
me personally. Like I wanted more like stoner rock, like desert rock kind of stuff.
Sure,
and it was
yeah.
just a little too like
People are high
it was
at
like
those
it was like
concerts.
music
Yeah.
you could see in like those old Gap ads, you know? Like that's what it was. Like
True.
seriously, yeah. I mean,
Actually.
Really, what was the single off that album?
The Way You Used to Do.
The way you used to do, yeah. And there's me with my pleated khakis, like that's what it was.
Josh,
Cherry
And
Bomb.
so- yeah. And I went in and I knew that they were gonna be playing some new material, and I feel like a lot of the new stuff dominated the concert. Like I wanted like old stuff, like first 3 first 4 albums, something like that. And it was I mean they put on a great show, but I wanted to hear less
Yeah.
of Villains and
I
more everything
I
else.
think a problem with that comes with the changing industry. Like that's a very old way to do
Sure.
a tour. So like you used to tour an album to produce the album to sell the album,
Mhm.
but now you release an album to
Tour. Yeah.
to raise money for the tour because you make money on like your merch, your
Yeah.
T-shirts and whatnot. And so like if you're touring an album and the album is really only a promotional tool, you're focusing on like a really bad part. Like I don't know.
But
I
are you talking
don't like that.
Like indie music versus stuff that's like already able to be produced, because if you don't have the funding, like are people still doing that to get the record deals and whatnot? Or,
like touring
Yes.
touring to sell records.
Yeah, I
I mean,
gotta
it's
be people
it's a
still
give
doing
and
that.
take, but it's more so like in the big image, you sell records to promote a tour.
Yeah.
In the past like 20 years, it's kind of changed because records just don't sell. People stream and you make like a millionth of a cent on a stream, and so it's just not profitable. Whereas like you get paid from ticket sales, you get paid from selling merch and whatnot, and so like I mean, they make a bunch of money anyway.
Yeah.
But like as a like a financial like approach, that's a horrible way to do that.
Mhm.
And plus, bands could tour more comfortably back then because you could, if your records were selling,
Well, yeah.
you could do like 2 shows here and then take 5 days off and
Yeah.
then do like another 3 shows. But now you have to you have like 1 day off every 8 shows and
Right.
like
Yeah, and the shows are where you make the money. That's where
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
working
yeah.
instead of the music. Not to say that the music has gone down, but
no, but it's just that's just how the industry is now. So you have to, yeah. Also, I love it when bands open up with their hit just to get it out of the way.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
kind of funny to me. Like Radiohead opens up with "Creep" and it's just we're done
Done.
with that.
Get it out of the way. Yep.
Yeah,
Alice Cooper was here at the fairgrounds, like what,
8 or 9 years
8 or
ago. I
9
was at
years
that
ago.
show.
And he opened with School's Out for Summer, and he
And
closed with School's Out for Summer. Yes, the most Alice Cooper thing you could do. It was like, "Fuck you, Stefano." Those were the only 2 songs he played.
I remember going to that show, and then because my dad opened for that show, he played with Ben Seif, and he didn't get to meet Alice backstage. Alice had like a black cover over his, with bodyguards walking. He did not want to talk to anyone. I'm like, what?
There's an executioner walking around the back.
And my dad goes, "Yep, that's Alice Cooper for you."
Interesting.
And then like I'm just imagining him writing the set list down backstage, like, "Guys, what are we gonna do for the encore?"
School's Out for Summer.
School's Out.
Every fucking
We just open with that, you dumbass. Like,
That's all.
He's like,
they
I'm
want.
Alex. No.
we're gonna close with Poison. Why? Your worst song.
Oh man.
Cause I'm Alice.
Alice
fucking
Cooper has such great music though.
Yeah.
Like so much of his stuff is
Yeah.
underrated,
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Next one.
I think so.
All right.
We didn't really answer the question.
What
That's
was
okay.
it?
We
made
gave
our own
them something
question.
entertaining.
It's thoughts on comedy sequels.
Like movie sequels?
Movies. Yeah.
They're shit usually.
Pass.
They make some.
Fail.
Fail. I don't
Fail.
want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. Just bad juju there.
Yeah, Dan's the filmmaker.
If
Yeah,
a
tell us
vegan
about-
falls in the woods, do they still tell someone they're vegan?
Yes. Yes.
Pass.
Yeah, they do.
Pass.
Pass. Probably.
They do.
I
Yeah.
didn't even hear what it
If a
was.
vegan falls in the wood,
Do they still
does he-
tell
does he
someone
still
they're
tell
vegan?
somebody they're vegan?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
Yeah.
Why? That's why you're vegan, is so you can tell people that you're vegan.
The trees must
That's-
know.
It's like, hey,
Don't
hey,
worry,
I'm
I
not
will
on
not
your
eat
side.
you to get out of
If
this.
someone is literally that gung ho about dietary restrictions, they're gonna tell people about it. Like you have to tell people if you're gonna be friends with people.
I got so conflicted. I just jumped off the vegan bandwagon. Well, not bandwagon, but so I.
But you did it. You were the Mormon
but in
of
me
vegan.
saying
Ding
that
dong,
I'm no
come on.
longer vegan is like me saying hey, did you guys know that was vegan? Like, I was like, what do I say? Like, I don't know.
Do it.
Do you have other dietary restrictions? Then?
How's your poop?
No.
What is this, a Dr. Oz episode?
Where's our miracle junket?
No, like it was just something like I wanted to try again. Like my wife and I did it. What was it back in 2012 or something like that. We had some friends who were vegetarian, and we were like, "Yo, let's should we try going?"
You're like,
vegan?
"Fuck you,
Let's
we're
try
doing
it."
better.
We're more
I
hardcore.
don't talk about it all the time. No, so for me it was like a dietary thing. So so back when I was in college it was my junior year of college,
How old are
2007.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was at my heaviest. I was 370 pounds, and then
How? What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You're
And
also
so-
7 feet tall.
6
So,
But no, so I was 370 pounds, and then went to grad school and to UND, and I lived on campus. So it was a half mile from my apartment to my building that I taught in and had classes in, and then had my back. So I was walking that a lot. So I ended up losing some weight. I taught in Norway for a little bit, and it was like living in a giant health store. It was awesome. So I lost more weight over there. So when I came back, or chocolate, yes. When I came back, then it was like I'd lost a decent amount of weight. I'm like, I want to keep up with this. So it was kind of about that. So since then, I had lost 140 pounds, and I wanted to try something a little different. And so that's what kind of got us into looking at trying to eat vegan. And we were gonna do it just for a month, just to see. And we ended up doing it for 5 months, just because one, we had the time. We didn't have a kid yet. And it's a lot of meal prep. you
Yeah,
know?
it's a lot
what made
more
you?
work,
What made
yeah.
you convert? Or did you convert back to
So yeah, so I've gone
Kill
back.
all
I've gone back and forth. So we were vegan for 5 months, and then we stopped because it's hard here in
Yeah.
Sioux Falls, just in the Midwest in general. And actually not in the Midwest in
killed
general.
this deer
I
for
mean,
you.
if you have more options in in Colorado or Minneapolis even or Omaha has some great vegan places and stuff too. But we had friends who were like, hey, you guys want to go out and yeah, and I guess it's well, we'll eat supper first. And then we'll use chips and salsa, I guess, and then our friends are eating these big meals, and it was just, we felt bad. We also kind of started to feel like burdens, at like family gatherings sometimes, because then it was like, you know, hey, guys, come over, have food. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, shit, I forgot about that. It's like, don't feel bad. Like, this is something that like we're choosing, you know, and like we,
We're
you know,
gonna
we can
have to
bring stuff.
uninvite you.
Yeah, it's just kind of this weird thing. So then we stopped. And so then
People stopped inviting us places.
We liked friends. So we decided to
we wanted to go back in. Our
Peer
social life
pressure at its
was
finest.
beginning, you know?
Wins again.
And so then just recently I was like, just kind of wanted to like try it again, and I did it for like, again, then like 4 months or whatever, and it was okay. But then it's like now my wife and I have, we have a 3-year-old, and it was just me kind of like doing it. So what we would do is like, you know, we would make like bases, like base dishes that we could both use, where it was like, you know, like rice or like a vegetable stir fry kind of stuff, and then, you know, maybe she would make like a steak and I would have like, you know, tofu or something like that.
Sounds
delicious.
delicious.
But like but then I just kind of jumped back off because I was like, I just right now it is, I feel like it is kind of a time consuming lifestyle, if you want to do it right. And I mean, again, it's like, you know, I'm waking
So
up
you
like
can't half-ass vegan.
well, no, like you can. Well, and if you do, then you're not
like a
like
vegan.
you're just yeah. I mean,
That's
no,
why
seriously,
you have
it's like,
to tell people. That's what I'm telling
it's
you.
hard because it's like, I mean, I was eating just a lot of like frozen vegan stuff. Like, you know, I was like, oh, I'll just heat up these like, you know, vegan like chicken cutlets and throw it over some rice and
Those
and then
chicken
and
cutlets.
then yeah, you just get like, for me, I would just, you know, I teach full time and I teach online classes as well. And then I have, you know, like my son and my wife, and so then at the end of the day, like, I get home, I'm tired. I don't have time to make this, you know, like vegan mac and cheese recipe, which it exists and it's awesome, by the way. But it's like there's just time
Prove it.
that I was just
No.
like tired, you know. So then I would just end up like just eating a bunch of like, you know, carby stuff that wasn't like.
Right.
Could it
That's
be like a
technically
frustration thing where it's like nobody's seeing how much work I'm putting into this? Everyone needs to know.
So then like, and I knew like, so that's one thing is like I know I've met people like that, and it frustrates me to like know them, because it's like don't, like, I'm not like you. Like, don't like group me up, because like, and so like, you're giving people like us like a bad name.
Yeah.
But no, I was like, I don't. So
It's like
I
a
would
hobby.
Giving us
Yeah,
junk, it's a bad name.
So like I would never, like, I wouldn't say anything, unless someone like asked me, like, you know, like, oh, have you tried this place or blah blah, or not even that. Like if someone actually like asked me, like, you know, do you eat meat? Then I would say, because there were actually times too where like I had a coworker, she's so nice. We were talking about, she wanted to
I know her.
like she loves baking and stuff like that. And one day after school, she was like, "Oh, hey Xavier, I made these scones." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And she's like, "Do you want one?" And I was like, do I just say like, "No, I'm fine, vegan"? And I was like, sure, you know, like, yeah, like rock and roll, you know, like, and it's times like that where I'm like, and I know there are some people who are like hardcore, and for me it's like, in that moment I was like, it's a coworker, she made and they were awesome scones. But then it was funny too, like on the way out she was like, yeah, I found like the best, the secret is like, you know, like using like really cold butter, like a lot of cold butter. I'm like, okay. As I'm eating it, she's like, and then like she's like, like heavy whipping cream. I'm like, okay. As I'm eating this thing. But no, it's like whatever. Like I don't, you know. So, but
Secret's
now
just
like
a
it's, I
lot
mean,
of
yeah,
cum.
it's not.
That's my favorite line.
So much cum in my
You guys listen to the new
pastries.
Kanye album?
It's spits, but not the whole
My
thing.
favorite line is, "No one would be here without cum." That's so deep. Ye's so woke.
Wow, he's
Or
so-
right next to I love your titties because they prove I can focus on two things at once.
Are you proud of what you've spawned?
My favorite is scoopity poop, scoopity poop poop.
Okay, make fun of Kanye as much as you want, but "put the pussy in a sarcophagus" is the best hip hop line of all time.
Everybody knows about.
That song kicks ass until JC hits the mic, and then after he hits a mic.
You guys kind of bring it down a notch.
Because the whole song is about
She's
sex.
kind of
She kills it, but I think like Jay-Z was like, okay, what's the song called? What's it about? And they're like, it's called Monster. He's like, I got it. And he's like, Frankenstein, zombie.
A zombie. Was he a zombie with no, like, something ghouls with no soul, something like that? Yeah.
And it's like, bro, not even
Okay,
close.
so and this is again jumping back in time here, talking about underrated artists. Like
Nicki
so
Minaj?
Many, no, so many
Oh.
students.
Yeah.
Some of my students are like Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, and I'm like, no. Have
Oh,
y'all
God.
never heard of Lizzo? And they're like, who's Lizzo? I'm like, do yourself a favor, Lizzo. Oh my gosh, she
Miss Frizzle.
crushes it. She crushes it. She
Magic
crushes
What? She got the
crushes me
singers.
to no end because she is like, I feel like the epitome of a strong female rapper. Like she knows what's up and she can freaking spit fire, and more people need to be listening to her.
Lauren
So,
Hill. I love Lauren Hill too.
Lauren Hill's
The
great.
Fugees.
Fugees.
But you got to pay those taxes, man. The tax man. Yeah.
How you gonna win when you ain't right within? That's my favorite. Should we do one more topic and then call it?
Sounds good.
Call it.
Cool. All right.
Anyone else nice and sweaty?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's wrong.
Oh, this is a sauna.
I'm liking it.
Whoo, my belly button.
Are some comedians automatic?
No, everything is a pool. The
Just
belly
a
button,
little kiddie pool in my belly button.
whether it's
right
sweat
now.
or cum or anything, the belly button is a pool.
There's just
It
a giant
always goes
sweat
toward
right here.
Saliva and marinara sauce.
Anything.
These pastries are filled with cum.
Is that Van Wilder?
Oh my god, it is! Shit.
I knew I'd be
Somebody
there.
goes, I think I've had these before.
Gosh.
That is the strangest rendition of Sweeney Todd I've ever seen.
I gotta say that's what I miss from Best Buy.
Yeah, Van Wilder.
The creamy
I bought Van Wilder. I rode my bike to Best Buy to specifically buy the unrated version of Van Wilder
What's
when
up?
I was like 16. Because I was like,
How old are you? I think the title of this should be "How old are you?" How many times has that been dropped?
Yes.
Or who?
Who?
For parentheses, who? Are some comedians automatically funnier because they have an accent, i.e. British, Vietnamese,
My
Spanish?
wife.
Wait, no.
Borat
My
is
wife.
the best
Say that
comedian.
again?
Are some comedians automatically funnier because they have an accent?
Fail.
Like,
Fail. Fail.
It could get
Fail.
real bad.
That could- yeah.
We could accidentally say something that we don't really mean
Yeah.
but think is funny.
Most underrated television show of all time.
I'll tell you.
underrated.
Oh,
television.
got it.
Pass.
Freaks and Geeks.
Pass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Freaks and Geeks.
Yes.
Man, that's all I have to say. Freaks and Geeks.
I think
Yeah,
with
Geeks.
close is Undeclared.
Oh,
Oh,
sure,
I
yeah.
declare.
Another Apatow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another Apatow show. Man.
Get a Life with Chris Elliott. Chris Elliott from like There's Something About Mary.
Yeah.
All that
He's
stuff.
He's on SNL too, right?
Yeah, on Fox, the show aired right after The Simpsons, and a lot for a long time, the reputation was if you're on after The Simpsons, your show is bound to fail.
Oh, sure.
The show aired in like 1990
but
until
yet The
1992.
Simpsons is still on.
Yeah,
And Futurama isn't. Can we talk about that?
That could be an underrated show.
yeah. Get a Life.
Futurama?
He plays-
Because it is the best show on that has ever been created ever.
One of them.
The best.
We got the filmmaker here. Let's not offend him.
No, Futurama was a great show.
He said half-assedly.
Chris Elliott plays a
I
30-year-old.
will rate it
Oh yeah,
under-
Chris Elliott.
Yeah, he's a 30-year-old paperboy who still lives with his parents. That's basically the whole show.
Okay.
So it's Futurama's Fried Stayed Home.
Yeah,
Chris Elliott was
and
also
he dies
on
at the end of every episode, which is great.
He was also on
That's a
Everybody
great
Loves
role to have,
Raymond
though. I love it.
Yeah, he gets crushed by a boulder, just randomly pops up. He just like, oh, and then just dies, and that's the end of every episode.
Dinosaurs. Remember
Dinosaurs.
That's one that like I remember as a kid loving. Went back as an adult and watched it and was like, "What the hell was I on at like 6-7 years old?"
I used to call that show the Bump Bump Show.
Please elaborate.
Because of the music was like
Oh,
bum 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 bum.
Sure,
Yeah, it was
sure,
very
sure.
very
Oh,
bass
yeah.
heavy, and I just kept calling it the Bump Bump Show.
Dinosaurs.
But I all kidding aside for dinosaurs, it's relatively new and it's on Netflix. But Bill Burr's F is for Family.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I
that's
never
good.
seen that. I didn't watch that.
Amazing, and I'm surprised that there hasn't been a third season for it, but it is incredible.
Oh, I have to
Incredible.
watch that.
This is probably an unpopular opinion, but CSI New York was the best CSI. That's what I'm going with, the most underrated of all time.
What about Titus? Remember?
Oh, I remember
Titus was good.
Christopher, yeah, that show was good
Greg
too.
the Bunny.
Greg the Bunny.
Oh,
was good
yeah.
too. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Greg the Bunny. Please
it's-
describe it to me.
Seth Green's in it. Eugene
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Eugene Levy plays his dad, and Eugene Levy's the director of a puppet kids show, and all the puppets on the show are real life people, adult puppets, and basically all these characters
Like
are just,
early furries is what you're saying.
yeah, pretty much,
Okay, yeah.
and like. Count Blah is a Count from Sesame Street ripoff, but he says blah at the end of every sentence, like, come to me, blah. You're gonna call me blah.
I'll throw this in there just for Lindsay Elston, but Pushing Daisies
Oh, that was a great show.
was a great show that I've heard they're actually thinking about bringing back.
Oh, that
doing a
would be
reboot
great.
of it.
I would love to see how they change that ending, though.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but it's a good show. Go and check it out. I think it's on Netflix. But in honor of its 5th season that just came out, we're gonna get some hop-ons because Arrested Development,
Oh, yeah.
hands down, one of the funniest
Yeah.
shows
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
Most underrated.
Well, there are some jokes that they set up.
Up in that first episode that don't get
And
paid
it
off
does-
until until the very
And
last
you
episode
might
of
not
season 3.
know. You might not know unless you're an avid viewer, and like it makes you
Mr.
want
F.
to become that.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, it's great.
The show is hands down fantastic,
Yeah.
written extremely well.
Yeah.
Aside from that 4th season,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
kinda
he
rough.
did.
Yeah.
That 4th season was really rough. Even the what is it called? Faithful Consequences.
Oh, the remix.
yeah.
Yeah, the recut. They recut the whole series to make it like the original.
Yeah,
The whole 4th
Oh.
season.
The re-edit.
Yeah.
It's much better, but
Yeah.
there's still those pieces like in the beginning. Those first like 8 or 9 episodes take place 2 years prior to where they're
Yeah.
at now, and so there was a lot of time jump in the original edit, but
Yeah.
in this new cut, it's more structured, but it still feels a little out of place.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a traditional Arrested Development season,
Sure. Yeah.
but hands down, I would say that's probably the most underrated show.
yeah.
It's not underrated though.
It's very popular.
Now, but when it first came out,
When it first came
it was
out.
so
People-
like
yeah,
no one
they were
watched
like,
it.
They were like,
It's only
I don't
popular
know if
now
this is
because
gonna
it's
go.
getting
Yeah.
Okay.
getting promotion.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Fox wasn't doing that. Fox was
You're
cutting.
saying it had a slow
the
start.
season.
It had a slow start.
Yeah, it didn't peak.
Not
Okay.
to start a
No,
new
yeah.
discussion, but is Roseanne now an underrated TV show?
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
Are you on Ambien?
Yeah.
You guys,
guys.
I'm podcasting on Ambien. I don't know what I said. Have any of you
It's
guys
no longer
seen,
called the Dresch Code.
Have you seen BoJack Horseman?
BoJack.
I've
heard. I
Great
haven't
show.
seen it.
Great
I've
show.
heard it's amazing. though.
Great
I-
show.
Excellent.
I need to check.
It
that
takes
out.
a couple episodes to get into.
Sure.
But it's good.
Cool.
It's
The first season, I was just questions. I was so confused,
yeah.
in the world, but it's funny.
Cool.
Like it's
The concept itself is confusing already, though. I feel
yeah.
like. But-
He's an actor that's washed up, but he's a horse.
But he's a
horse,
horse.
yeah.
Like, excuse me.
Yeah, but he's a horse.
It's-
Wait, okay, I got the actor part. What? I want to hear
Why
the
is he
elevator
a
pitch
horse?
for this
The music
movie.
in that show is good.
Why
though,
is
too.
he a horse?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it either. Like, what is the significance of him being a horse?
It
Does it play into the jokes?
It's a goddamn show.
sometimes.
They,
I know, it's a show,
they
but it-
fuck around with the idea that animals as people because they're all just people. So they treat like the fact that he's a horse as like that he's a black guy or something like it's like an ethnicity or
Right,
something
yeah.
like that.
Right.
And
I get
so
that
like
problem.
there's a whole episode where he goes to a
Are you a
film
horse?
festival
I'm
in
a horse.
How horse are you?
underwater.
Just
and it's
below the
basically
waist.
a parody of
Nice.
Asia where it's just like all these fish people and stuff like that underwater and he doesn't speak the language and
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Monk was pretty good.
What's up?
Monk.
Monk?
My
Psyched.
grandma was into
That
that.
When
was
you
a
speak,
good show.
Psyched was a good show too.
oh yeah.
Psych.
Psych,
Just-
whatever.
Yeah,
I was
not
I
past
was-
tense. Present.
It was, now it's psych.
Now it's psych,
no
yeah,
Like
longer-
the
exactly.
verb. Psych.
It's
I do
what
love
you
More
do.
than noun.
British comedy. I love British comedy. The IT Crowd and
Yeah,
Black
yeah.
Books. Black
IT
Books
Crowd.
is a drunk guy that owns a library. It's just so great. Like, doesn't care. He just smokes cigarettes and some drinks in the back room, and it's like, yeah,
Something I can show the kids, right?
yeah.
I mean, depending on what kind of parent you are, you can.
I'm an amazing parent.
Yeah.
Is that one of the topics in here? How
Hey
good of-
kids, I picked out this great Lars von Trier film for tonight.
Oh God.
They
It's
have.
Dad's night for movie night.
They've seen Nymphomaniac like 6 times.
Jesus Christ.
I watch it for the cinematography.
They're huge,
man.
shiny.
That's I can't like. It's like, and so I guess I've seen a couple of his films, And that's one where it's like I can't bring myself to watch. It's on Netflix. I can't bring myself to watch it because I'm just like I know I'm gonna be on some list.
I
know.
I will
It's-
say
it's
when I
really
first heard that,
good,
I
though.
thought they were talking about the the drummer from
Metallica.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, I like to make a lot of horror films.
No, it was just like,
Oh, sure.
yeah.
He's got a new one coming out too. The House
Matt-
of Jack
Matt
built.
Dillon.
Yeah, Matt Dillon plays a serial killer. It's supposed to be Enuma Thurman's in
And then
it.
he
Like,
fucks everything in the house. That was an aggressive fuck. I'm sorry, guys. that was a hard fucking right in there. We're gonna have to edit this. How many times should we get the word fuck in before it's over? I'm sorry, Mom.
You're all
My
good.
dad, stepmom,
Yeah, what's the
stepdad,
rating
everybody
for
who's
this
listening.
podcast?
NC-17.
It
fuck?
I don't
This
think
is
you can
rated
possibly
G for
have-
general audience.
G to Andrew Dice Clay.
There's only explicit or not explicit. We put explicit on here so you can say whatever the fuck you want. The FCC has no power here.
The fuck CC.
On tree music.
I could have used different words for the C's, but
Like,
So before we
They
end,
can't stop me.
So there's an entire scene in Singing in the Rain where they're trying to
They're
pronounce
just
the
fucking.
word "con."
Just fucking.
Yeah.
I've seen that
And
porno,
they all
Fucking in the
say
Rain.
Con. And so I've actually production managed for this, like the Singing in the Rain Junior, like a few weeks ago actually, and I had all of these like 8-year-olds just saying over and over again, "Cont, cont, cont," and I wasn't allowed to laugh
You can laugh.
because then it'd be like, "Why are you laughing at me?" It's
Oh man, when little kids swear, that's the funniest damn thing in the entire world.
Yeah, it is.
My youngest daughter, for Christmas, we were running late because everybody likes to run fucking late in my house and in my wife's family. It's what we do. And we had to leave like 45 minutes prior, and I said, Penelope, go up to Uncle Ben and say, "Are we fucking going?" You could hear a pin drop. And I'm like, I'm just standing there, I'm like, yeah, are we?
She is my speaker. I am her microphone.
Oh God, my
Here's $1, honey.
I have a nephew. He's like 4 years old at the time, I think, and loves toy guns and is like his dad lets him watch like what the fuck ever. So one of his favorite movies is Predator.
Yes.
And at one point, he's playing with his cousin, who's the super sheltered like city kid from Milwaukee or whatever, over Christmas, and they're playing with toy guns. At one point, Clyde gets up, he cocks his gun, and he goes, "You better start running, motherfucker!" Everybody in the room just like.
oh my god.
Glorious.
No.
so before we wrap the show up, should do shameless plugs. If anyone has anything they'd like to promote, we'll go around circle. Casey, you have anything you want to promote?
Not at the moment, but I am currently working on dates with Kellen Marson.
Cool.
Was the
Congrats.
Yes, I know. Was one of the owners of Wackos. He is now just going around the greater Midwest, it seems like, doing his hypnotist comedy show. He asked me if I would like to join him on some dates.
Now he's a
that he
wandering
has.
magician.
Now he's a wandering hypnotist, so he's going to make my act funny
Close
for
enough.
these kids.
When you said dates, I thought it was something a little bit more romantic. But
Well, that too. That's always implied with Kellen. So more to come on that.
All right. Are you ready? Can we hear more? Can we get to me now?
Just wanna say
There
you
is a
said
lot
cum.
of cum in these scones.
Is cum vegan?
It is, I think.
No, now hold on.
Wait,
What
wait,
is it?
wait. Shameless
Your
plugs
wife
become
swallow.
shameless
That's
cum.
what I want to know.
That's not vegan.
Well, I would say you don't eat anything that comes from an animal, or
Yeah,
so
it does.
mammals included. So
Yeah, it's
So
not vegan.
we're not guzzling
So
the
no
cum.
swallowing. That's
Just
no fun.
Tons of spit. It's a wine tasting.
You're a teacher. I'm so sorry. I was
At
He's
your
like, if-
old high school too.
He's like, if my kids check this out.
When did you win? How's it? How
I
long?
just finished my
How
first
old
year.
are you?
Actually, funny story here. So when how old am I? Old enough to have been Daniel's or assistant speech coach at Lincoln High School when he was a student there.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, and thing is, I was
might have been like a freshman, I think,
I was
or
a
something.
stupid ass freshman. I remembered you. See, I remembered you more in the fact that you were my sister's friend
Yeah,
from school,
yeah, yep.
and then you were the
Boyfriend's
assistant coach.
secret cousin.
But did you ever? I don't think
I
Hank ever let you work with
no,
me though, because
no.
I was such a
I had some
little
other kids
fucker.
that I worked with and stuff like that, but yeah, so I worked with Daniel's sister at Cafea,
Yeah.
and so there's a connection there. But yeah, so it's
That's
we're
great. Yeah, we need
sorry
to,
for all the
reconnect,
cum
that's what we
talk.
do. Yeah. Do you want to keep going? Do you have a plug? Do you have a thing?
Yeah, it's gonna be teaching
talk
at
about
Lincoln.
yourself.
So Skin of Our Teeth, we have a couple shows coming up here. We're playing at Biggs next week with Hemlock. We're also playing with Wolfhammer at
I know
Hydra
him.
Beer Hall the following week. And so we have a Facebook page, we have the Bandcamp page, so you can we have one album out, so you can listen to us, find us there, and keep up to date with the shows and stuff. But yeah, 2 shows coming up, and then try and record. So
Awesome. Simon, what about you?
I play in Stem Cells. We just released our first LP in April, and that's on Spotify. Just search up Stem Cells. And then I also just joined a band called Grobe. Our album, I guess,
Paul
just
Bordy?
came out. The album just came out in March. I don't play on it, but I'm playing with them now. Both bands are, we have like double-digit shows for each one coming up, so if you hear about any of those in the Midwest region. I play guitar in Stem Cells, and I play bass in Grobe.
You guys have an unplugged show this Thursday, don't you?
We do. This Thursday at Icon, Stem Cells Unplugged.
That's gonna be the first one of all of them, aren't they? Like the first local Thursdays Unplugged thing that they're doing.
I have no clue.
So I think because Disarm's doing that next month, so I'm just
Oh, nice.
that's terrible.
I-
Segue
I-
into my
Hey, you're from the band.
disturbed. Disturbed.
You can catch Zach playing with no arms.
Okay, so just quick thing with the Disturbed. There's a YouTube video of it's like a cut version of just a bunch of people trying like karaoke trying to do that intro to Now I'm Sinless. And it's just
my God.
boom 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 one after the other of each person trying it.
Do you guys do like outro music?
it's
Can
so
that be the
funny.
outro music for this?
All these if you can find it, it's like 5 minutes of just people like just trying and failing. And it's the funniest thing.
My wife does not like that sound after sex.
Oh, you better come over to my place and have sex. Because I'm okay with it. But
I'm probably not allowed home. after this.
another reason to come to my place. It's fine.
You only do that when it's to scones, right?
Right, only the scones. Oh, these scones.
Scones are so dry. They need a little cum. They really do. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
It
yeah.
was.
Yeah. Let's see. So, let's see. I finished out my short film Unearthed has been screening at festivals around the country, around the world. I think we screened in like 3 or 4 continents actually. Now the next one is in Pennsylvania. We're at the Pittsburgh Independent Film Festival.
Zach, you didn't tell me who I was going to be sitting with.
Yeah. I joked I was
What were the
famous.
reviews from Antarctica? I'm curious.
I think we got 2 listeners in Denmark, and then the rest are from here.
We submitted to like this little short film festival in India called the Whirler Lake Short Film Independent Film Festival, and we got like best international film, and they're mailing me a trophy, and I'm like, what is this?
Whoa, that's
Oh, we
Wow.
love the white guys in India.
Yeah. It's actually there's no. They don't know what I look like. I feel like they only know what my actors look like, and there's a.
Well,
it's
you're
a mother and a
Daniel.
daughter.
Have you ever met a black Daniel?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have. I have.
If you listen to Daniel Caesar,
Oh,
check him out too.
okay. That's very true. Sorry, everybody.
But
We know I was joking, right? They're gonna take away my show too.
So that's happening. But I'm working on another short film now, but trying to get a grant funding for it and whatnot. Which actually
give it $1.
It features some racial issues, and it's something that I wanted to approach and learn about, because that's how I approach scripts. Actually, is that I don't like the whole write what you know thing.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of throw that out the window. I want to learn about what I'm gonna write about, and that's
Totally.
that's how I learn about
That's
other
cool.
people. And that's the way I empathize with people. And so this I'm a little, it's like a little bit uncomfortable when you do that, but it's more rewarding too when you
Totally.
can connect with other cultures. Anyway, so I'm working on that. If anyone wants to like read it and like racist proof it or something, let me know. No, it's really. Okay,
I heard
no,
Roseanne's
no,
looking for
seriously.
jobs.
No,
If there are any juckets out there that are willing to
Yeah,
to racist
we
proofread
created
the
a
script.
derogatory term today, and
like it's really important because like my goal is to make something as accurate and empathetic as possible.
Yeah.
And so I mean, anyway, so.
that's
but it's
cool.
about
That's
it's,
awesome.
Yeah.
It's about two black friends in 2004 who go on a road trip and to the Grand Canyon. How many black dudes go on a road trip to camp in the Grand
I
Canyon
don't, we
together?
know a lot of Daniel.
And so, so anyway, but along the way they meet a couple of white police officers who give them some help, and basically, it's a delicate subject matter that I would really interested in anyone taking. a
You
look
could
at
even
if
do
they
that
wanted to.
in 2018 as opposed to
And so
2004.
basically it starts in 2004, and then I have a flash forward to basically modern day and how that's changed, because I wanted themes of the way that the black community is getting better, like things are getting better for that, and
that's great.
I wanted that to be understood at the end. So anyway, so that's what I'm working on now, trying to get grant funding for it because I've never been funded before, like except for credit cards out of my pocket. I'm gonna shut up now. But anyway, no,
What
I'm
he's
talking a
saying
lot.
is he's in debt.
But anyway, so yeah, other than that, I started up a production company with my dad in January. We're doing promo videos, commercials, stuff like that, like because we need to make money. And so,
Sorry.
But yeah, you're right though. But if you know anyone who needs some really high quality but pretty affordable production work, let me know because
That's cool.
we're working in documentary work and longer format stuff. We want to basically expand the image of local companies that are really great, but they don't necessarily have the people to make them properly tell their story. And so anyway,
It's awesome.
yeah. So
Top that, Dresch.
I talked.
No, that was awesome.
No,
that was
that
really
awesome.
cool.
That's great.
I would like to see.
We should have saved that for the end.
We should have saved that for the whole show. We could have just.
I got what I mentioned yesterday. I'm hosting a benefit for Steve Swayze, who's a musician who just
Patrick?
no.
It's too late for him.
Anyways,
I didn't know.
That's been expired.
yeah, it's a benefit for his. He's in the process. He hasn't regained consciousness yet.
No.
So they're hoping for a speedy recovery, and they're doing a show with a bunch of musicians to perform, and they want me to host it and introduce the acts and stuff. So it's gonna be a $10 entry at Biggs, plus free will donation. There's a lot of great musicians playing: Tony Brown, Brian Hoffman, Matt Hansen, Gorilla Pimp. Don't know what that's gonna be, but I'm excited to see it. No Sir Not Me, Bird in a Hand, Acoustic Exile, Press the Tyrant, and Black Van Burnouts. And Steve Swayze wrote a bunch of songs that he has friends performing for him, which is gonna be cool. Bobby Cook, Chris Breezy Dredd, Chris Vogel, and Andy Militzer are performing those songs. And I'm going to host and tell some jokes between bands. But music shows, I found in my experience that they just want a couple jokes and just move the hell on. Move the hell on. Just like, hey, here's a Creed impression. Here's the next band. That's how it, yeah.
Try having a 15-minute set in the middle of a battle of the bands.
Oh.
That was one of my first gigs ever. Oh my goodness, I would never do that again.
But yeah, that's what I got. Ryan, do you have anything right now?
Oh gosh, no, nothing new developed in my life in the past 24 hours.
Okay, right.
Come on, give us something.
I didn't hear what happened
What did
yesterday.
you have for breakfast?
What did I have? I had a Cliff Bar. That's how exciting my life is.
flavor?
What's coming up tomorrow?
The only good flavor.
The caffeinated mint, right?
No, but gosh, no. I tried that once and I swore off it
No, it's
forever.
peanut butter.
Yeah, it's the crunchy peanut butter.
Yeah, no, that's the only one that
that's the only one you
makes,
can get. Yeah.
I was kidding about that that caffeinated mint. My favorite.
I Monsters will be doing a show called Heart Play later. I think we're doing it in August. We're having a meeting tomorrow. But written by Matt Stoffel, who was one of our founders. So that'll just be a stage reading that we're having.
That man looks like Christian Slater.
I'll pass that along.
The first time my dad ever met him, which he will never remember this, he went up to him and he said, "You know, You just, if anyone ever told you look like Christian
he's like,
Slater.
"Thanks, bud."
He's like, all right, I'm just gonna,
I'm just
I gotta
gonna-
get a drink from the drinking fountain.
Thank you, bye.
All right.
All of you guys have been absolutely fantastic. I know I'm not the host, but
You are now.
I've gotten to meet you guys, and this was a lot of fun. You guys
This is
are.
our longest one yet, like almost.
Yes,
2
and I
hours.
said
Almost
that's
2
what
hours.
we. I
We need
said
to, like,
I
hang
said
out
that that's
outside of
exactly what's
recordings.
happening.
We don't have to record every conversation we
No,
have.
we should. We should. We should. I mean, when else are we gonna get cummy scones?
How many times has that been brought up?
I don't know.
That's for the episode
Salads at
titles.
home.
Xavier's like,
Scones.
I gotta get back to my teaching job now.
C asterisk 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 scone.
Baker's dozen amount of times. Makes a baker's dozen for me. Robert, do you have anyone's as well?
Just the podcast's at thesuempire.com. Check it out.
Robert, thank you for everything. The last
Yeah.
episodes have been fantastic. Seriously. Thanks for the shirts.
I can't wait until we all become Facebook friends.
I want this now. Well, I mean, I think I'm.
Already have.
I'm friends with half of you guys. I guess I need to be with you.
Mr. Popular over here already knows everyone.
I need to be with you. I need to be with you.
You're pretty close now.
Yeah, seriously, thanks to Robert.
We're gonna
Thank
make
you.
some scones.
Thank you, Robert,
I'm preheating
Brian.
now.
Can't wait to flip. Do scones get flipped?
You need to just like press the stop button.
Yeah, final thank you, Xavier, Simon, Daniel, Casey, Brian, Robert. You guys are amazing, and we're gonna go have scones. Thank you guys.
I'm not ready yet.
And this has been the Dresch Code.